Hello everyone. Today's video is going to be a quick overview on the latest update for mobile forest vision. As you can see here, this is the combined scene, and what combined means is basically with the previous versions of mobile forest vision, there was one texture that gave you three different versions, and they were all broken down seasonally. So if we look at materials, we see we had an autumn, spring, summer, winter, and these textures, as you can see, these textures basically just gave you one version of a winter scene that can be applied to your assets, and there are three different versions. So you can see here this is one type of tree, here's another type of tree, here's another type of tree, and then three trunks, and then there was a lot of ground vegetation, ground cover that could be used. And what I did in the newest version is I had the idea of instead of limiting you to just those three options, that if I actually combine them, so you see now we've got all four into one. And what that does is that gives you 4 times the amount of assets that can be used with a single model file and a single texture. So what you see here is you see all of the asset files that are given with the latest update. Everything is found, can be added through your the menu here, all under seasonal. So all your trees, trunks, everything that was before, moved everything from the menu into original. These are all the ones that use the single texture with only 3 options. And the seasonal are everything that uses this combined version with 4 different options. So everything you see here, all these ground vegetation, weeds and grasses, these bare bark limbs, these foliage, everything you see here is essentially 2 draw calls. If we look over here, we see the set pass calls is set to 2. Everything that you're looking at. So it's a highly optimized version, if I say so myself, that I've added to mobile forest vision. And just to kind of show you here, I'm just gonna come over here and let's see, I'll just do a new scene. Let's do a new scene. We're gonna go over here and create mobile forest vision seasonal trees, and let's just do, I think, skinny bunches. Go over here and find this guy. So this particular tree, let me just build the lighting real fast. Can't stand when it doesn't look cool, so let's just do that. All right, so it looks a little better. All right, so with this single tree, it is using our the basic combined texture, as we already saw. Notice I also have the vertex weight map updated as well. So we do have some basic moving that can be controlled. So what we have here is a tree that, if we open up our tools, and I'm just going to go to the switch mesh tool, put this down here, and what I've added, now I've updated it, is that when you select on your tree, if you know that you're picking on a combined version, which everything that's combined will have the prefix C1 in there. So, because right now you'll see if you hit switch mesh, nothing happens. So if we click on that, this is a switch, a seasonal version, we now can run through. So we can say, okay, let's switch to the second version. So now this tree is using the second variety of the first seasonal option. So we've done nothing to the geometry itself. It's still using the same material. we're just basically changing the UVs that are associated with this tree. So those were the first three. So let's go back to 1, and now let's switch to the second seasonal version. Same tree, same texture, same model file, everything's the same. But now we've got completely different varieties of this tree. So each seasonal has 3 different options to use. So let's go back to 1. Let's go to the third. So now the way that this texture is basically spring, summer, autumn, and fall. Obviously, spring, summer, autumn. No, spring, summer, autumn, and winter. So here we are in the autumn version. We've got 3 different versions here as well. And, you know, as you can see, it's really easy. And when you save these, you know, let's say that you like this version of the tree. You save it out. It doesn't matter where you save it. You put it into your optimize. You can put it into, make it a new prefab. Doesn't matter. It's not changing your draw calls. That's one of the things that I love about this particular asset, is just how much freedom it gives you. I mean, that is a lot of trees that you get from a single texture, a single model file, and this can be updated as, you know, because of the way that Mobile Forest Vision is constructed. You can very easily make changes to this tree. Maybe you want it to look like this. Maybe put this over here, bring this down. Maybe it should be on that side, give it a little bit more variety. This tree can be saved, and you still haven't changed your draw calls. We can do this several times over and just keep expanding and making this tree exactly what you want. And everything is, your draw call hit's going to be the same. So those are your trees. I figure it's worth at least running through. If we go into, so you have your stumps, these are all of these are going to use the same kind of concept. You can just switch through all their seasons and the varieties. The ground cover, so I've broken these out a little bit more so that you can apply. So let's say we just add 1 fern plant. So here's 1 version. Let's go back to, so let's just switch this one. So here's 3rd version of the 4th season. So what's happening with the ferns? Because what I wanted to do with some of these is I did want there to be a little bit of with the fern plants, the ground vegetation. So you see that there's actually not anything happening on 3. These guys only have 2, and really all it is it's a changing of the way that the geometry itself is working. So it just gives you a different variety of the mesh itself. I'm not cycling through different textures, because as we can see, if we go back and look, the ground cover here, these are all the textures up here, and the ferns specifically are right here in this corner. And what I wanted to do is I wanted you to still be able to have the option to kind of cycle through and make changes. But because I don't have, like with this one, here's the 3 versions of the trees right here, 1, 2, and 3. I didn't have the room to do 3 versions of those. So what I did instead was I gave you 3 different versions of the mesh itself, or sorry, 2. So that's what's happening here on 1 and 2. However, we do get to change the seasonal version, so we are using different textures, but we can just change the plant, as you can see here. So just wanted to cover that. The ground cover grass is another one that's worth at least looking at. So let's go to the grass. We'll just pick on version 1. So again, It's the same concept as with the fern. You don't have 12 visual options like you do with the trees. You have the two, actually with the ground cover grass, you actually do have three versions. You'll see here that this particular mesh is bent and curved backwards. So the first one is a straight plane. It is as low poly as it can get. The second one is a little bit more high poly. As you can see, it's curved and bent backwards. And then the third one is even more high poly, and it's twisted, so that when this is scattered, placed around, that it just gives you nice variety of how it looks, and just more options to play with and make sure that it's looking the way you want. It does have the seasonal versions, so you can switch these and get different looks. Again, all same thing, it's the same texture. The last thing, the weeds are broken down into the 9 versions that you have. These follow the same principle as excuse me, as the grass. You have 3 different mesh versions. The third one being the one that's twisted, is a little bit more high poly. Second one is just curved and bent, and the first one is just a flat plane. And then of course we have the seasonal versions as well, so that switches the texture that's being used. So that's really all I wanted to cover with it. I think that you definitely have a lot of options, a lot of very just a lot of variety of what you can add, and keep those draw calls super limited. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy your day.